And y'all were talking shit in my comments. Oh no, Judo Master's lost in the QUC. Judo's Master. Stupid. Stupid. I just watched it. You're dumb. I'm better. Ding dong, bitches. Zippity zap, bitches. My goodness, do we got some stuff to talk about. We pick right back up where we left off last episode with Harcourt and Peacemaker. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm with Harcourt here. How did you not notice this? Like, I get it. Bro, what? Chris is just so privileged and blinded that he doesn't notice this mural, which is actually kind of crazy. But as you know, Harcourt too is there and is like, yeah, go arrest her. So Chris is like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, we gotta break up. She's like, why? He's like, because what I'm about to do. And then him and Harcourt dip out. They gone. That's when we pick up with this guy. Yeah. And Adrian 1 is like, hey, so my friend who came here, she's kind of black. And Vidge 2 is like, what do you mean kind of black? Like you can't notice it? And Vidge 1 is like, no, we can notice it. And he's like, oh shit, we gotta go find her. And they're off. Pick up with Economos, and low-key, Augie was just being so reasonable here throughout the whole episode. Way more reasonable than his Earth 1 counterpart would be. Coming back to that. Economos just spills the beans everywhere. Just spill. Gone. And we pick back up with Adebayo, and I'm not gonna lie, why the hell did you jump in the pool? Like, I know you didn't know Judo Master was coming. So you just decided to jump in the pool. You gave up. What were you gonna do? Swim to the other side and get back? Honestly, why did the people jump in the pool behind her? Like, are they that dumb? And then, yeah, zippity zap zap, Judo Master to the rescue. Zip, zip, zzz. And matter of fact, this isn't even the first time he does it, because later on when they're chit-chatting, he's like, yeah, my previous record was 4 people. Yeah, so that's a big jump, you know what I'm saying? That's a new PR. Find out why Keith wasn't in the crowd chasing her. It's because his daddy called. He was like, yeah, we got a problem. And explains it to him. But Keith is a little bit angry. Yeah, no, he's PO'd. He's beyond pissed. But Augie's keeping it calm. And while this is happening, Econogo is trying to get Eagly to get him out. But you know that's not gonna happen. Eagly not gonna do that shit for him. He don't fuck with Econogo like that. Like, what? That's not how that works. But, yeah, no, now it's time to suit up and go after Chris. But we're with Adebayo and Judo Master again. And Judo Master has been camping out in this random house that he found that's empty. And he's hiding in out there, actually, because it has no snacks. But he tells Adebayo that the Nazis won World War II here, or the Yazis, sorry, won World War II here because he's been reading all the history books and whatnot. And then they sort of have like a heart-to-heart, and they just get to know each other, and she explains how Chris really isn't like the bad guy that everybody thinks he is. Well, she starts to talk about her wife. And Judo Master is like, well, can you accept her dream? Because Adebayo's whole thing is that her wife can't accept her dream. That you know, she wants to do this, and she just... her wife wants to hold her back, or she just doesn't want to support her, but can Adebayo support her dream? Gives her something to think about for this episode. Now we're back with Harcourt and Peacemaker in this little high-speed chase. He's on the motorcycle and she's behind him. And we get this really nice moment where she actually lets down her guard a bit, and she just leans her head on his back, and then they're holding hands, and he squeezes her hand a bit. And it's such a wholesome moment. You could just tell it written on John Cena's face, even with the cops on his ass, even with them in on Earth X, you know. He's happy because he's with Harcourt. It's pretty wholesome, pretty nice. Like, this is literally the most romantic scene we've seen from them ever. Also, though, James Gunn said himself that we are going to see the boat scene next episode. So we'll actually figure out what happened between them. But he low-key corners himself because he sees the cops coming from behind. He takes a sharp turn, and then they're surrounded. And then boom, 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 boom. A bunch of the cop cars pull up, or blow up, whoops. And it is Mr. Blue Dragon and Keith. And he kills the rest of the officers, Augie. And he's like, come with us if you want to live. Pretty straightforward. And again, keep in mind, Augie is being reasonable. Now we finally get to what everybody's been speculating. Mr. Sydney. It was pretty obvious that was who they were going to call. But, so, the place they're in actually is in the Superman movie, the LexCorp. Towards the end of the movie, when they drop off and they're flying around, it's like a building, spaceship type of thing. That's what they're in. And that's what he's looking at. And he actually finds out this really cool detail about how Lex's portals were unstable. They couldn't be open for more than a few minutes without tearing a hole in reality. Well, these portals are stable. They can do whatever. And then Rick Flag Sr. is just in the background like, oh, fuck yes. Oh. Get out of here, Rick Flag Sr. Now we're back at the crib, and we got everybody there, and Augie's just like, straight up, you tell us what the fuck happened. And he tells them, you can see Augie is just genuinely like feeling for him. He's like, yo. So it was an accident. Okay. But Keith isn't having it. He's like, this motherfucker killed my brother. But Augie's like, no, chill out. But then, oh, what? There's a knock on the door. Who's at the door? It's motherfucking Fitzgibbon, because who other white person from the main universe did they have to show besides Superman? Anyways, though, he's at the door, and he's like, yeah, we're looking for your son. And Augie's like, well, you're not searching here, and he's not here. And he's like, well, if he's innocent, you should just let us come in and search. And he was like, I didn't say he's innocent, but he's not here. So get up off my land, up off my porch, and get out of here. Baller. And then close the door, goes back. Judo Master and Adebayo are in the bushes. And then what's that? The two vigilantes pull up on him, and Vigilante and Judo Master had this little back and forth because Judo Master kicked his ass last time, which honestly I would sit there and argue too, because why you... Vigilante would win that, come on. And pretty much Vigilante are like, or Vigilante and Judo Master, are like, hey, why don't we just kill the cops? And Adebayo's just like, yo, can we just sneak in, yo? And they're like, okay, whatever. Now, Keith is sitting here saying, fuck this guy, fuck that. Augie's like, yeah, we're going to get them back to their universe, and you're never going to come here again. And Harkutter's like, oh, yeah, yada, yada, blah, 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 blah. Called him a Yahtzee, pretty much, was talking shit. And that boy said, word for word, I applaud you if your world is perfect and you fight every injustice you see. Basically, he's not a Yahtzee. He's actually a really good dude who just wakes up every morning and puts one foot in front of the other, trying to be better. And it's in that moment where Chris sees Vigilante in the glass on the porch about to jump through. And that is quite literally when he jumps through and stabs the shit out of Augie's neck over and over and over again, and Augie's dead now. But really think about it. Keith is literally now in the same position that Chris was in. I mean, obviously he didn't do it. It's not like he killed his brother and he killed his dad, but it's what happened, and it's the way it happened that probably put him on this revenge arc. Also, the fact that he's a Yahtzee. But all this commotion causes the cops to come in, obviously, and they are all booking it for the QUC while Chris is sitting there kind of a little shocked, but then he goes with them. And Keith is sitting there holding his father's lifeless corpse for a little while before he decides to go and attack Chris as they're going through the QUC. But Chris's family wasn't having that. No, Chris's family wasn't having that. No. I don't mean his family. I mean 11 Street kids. I'm talking Hardcore is strangling him, Vigilante is stabbing him, even Judo Master came in to help a little bit. Adebayo is sitting there. They're all putting some work into him. And then that's when we hear this guttural, just heart-wrenching yell from Chris where he's like, no, stop. And he goes there and he holds his brother, but they have to leave. But before they leave, he's just sitting there. He's like, this other universe isn't the problem. My universe isn't the problem. I'm the problem. And they go through the QUC. They run. They're booking it. But Hardcore stays back for a second and is like, Vigilante, give me your gun. And it wasn't a question. And she's about to shoot Keith. And then the cops barge in. And she jumps into the QUC, but she's trying to turn around and do that little move. Yeah, it didn't work. Vigilante was in front of her and closed the door. What happened to Vigilante? I also saw a theory that our Vigilante is still in Earth X, and that Earth X Vigilante switched with him because he just wanted the perfect world, and Vigilante wants to kill a bunch of Yahtzees, which I think would be pretty cool. I don't want that to be the case though, because it's like Adrian for the past 2 seasons did everything for his best friend just for him to turn around and be like, no, I want to be in this world now. But to be fair, Chris did the same thing, so I'm not sure. But as we close out the episode, Chris and gang walk out of Vigilante's house to meet Argus at this same place. And Chris kind of just tosses the QUC and he's like, that's what you wanted. They came to the universe, convinced me to give it to you, and that's that. Chris is arrested and Keith is not dead, but definitely coming back for revenge. Like and follow for more.